Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Andy H. Wynn, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation today will be delivered by the aging Craig Maxwell, who's celebrating his 60th birthday today. Congratulations. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges.
Yeah, today's a good day. I get to move to the forward tees today. I don't have to play it all the way back. So. Thank you, Commissioner, Judge. If you'll bow your head. Lord, we bow before you today, realizing that you have bestowed upon us many blessings, but we cannot possibly see all the things you have provided us. Lord, remember those who lost loved ones during that tragic day 15 years ago. Let us never forget that day, and that we do still live in the greatest country in the world. Lord, take away our heart of stone. Give us a heart of love. We can all be a little kinder in our thoughts, our actions, what we say to others. Do not wait till tomorrow to forgive or say you're sorry. Life is a journey filled with wonderful memories, times we want to hang on to forever. And there are times we wonder why this is happening to me. But remember, as Paul told us, suffering produces endurance, endurance produces character, character leads us to hope, and hope has been poured into our heart by God's love. There are many who are hurting, who are lost, who don't know where to turn. If we can just give a smile, a good morning, or an acknowledgement, this world will be a better place in which to live. God will raise you up on eagle's wings and hold you in the palm of his hand. The Lord make his face shine upon us, give us peace. I ask this prayer through Jesus, who is your word, who is our example, by which we should all follow. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Craig. Have a great day.
Would somebody please put Beecham out of the house?
I tried to let the air out of his tires this morning, but it didn't work.
Does he have that hat on? Not yet. Agenda announcements, Mr. Manius?
Your Honor, the only announcement we have this morning is that we do not have a closed session today.
Thank you.
Move approval of the minutes.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Proclamations and resolutions. Commissioner Brooks.
Thank you, Your Honor. I ask ratification of two proclamations already presented. The first, honoring the service of Dr. Glenise Robinson as Fort Worth's Chief Librarian for the past 17 years, Director of Library Services. And the second, honoring 16 de Septiembre, Mexican Heritage Month. That's a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Wynn.
Your Honor and fellow commissioners, this morning we have the honor of welcoming Mr. and Mrs. Macare. Oscar is the founder, not really, you're not the founder, but almost like a founder of the Tarrant County Asian American Chamber of Commerce for many, many years. And during the past 15 years that I know of Oscar, he and his wife has been very involved in our communities, helping small businesses and families building their new lives here in the United States. And today, Oscar made the decision to retire. So we would like to present to Oscar and his wife a resolution of recognition. So, Your Honor, if you don't mind, please read that resolution
Thank you.
into the record.
Whereas Oscar McElroy arrived in the United States from the Philippines in June of 1969, and whereas Oscar has spent more than 20 years promoting small business and cultural awareness as a part of his service to the Asian American community in Tarrant County and North Texas, and whereas Oscar's leadership and work as a part of the Asian American Chamber of Commerce has benefited the Tarrant County business community as a whole by creating many minority business connections and opportunities, and whereas his work and partnerships in the community have led to the organization of numerous events and activities, such as the annual Egg Roll Festival, that have promoted small business and entrepreneurship while celebrating culture and promoting the accomplishments of the Asian Americans throughout Tarrant County, and whereas Oscar is respected and recognized for his efforts and activities that have helped unite the many Asian American communities in Tarrant County, and whereas he has inspired all of those who have worked with him over the years, and he has left a legacy that will continue to impact the Asian American community as well as Tarrant County business community for years to come, and whereas Oscar and his family continue to be proud residents of Tarrant County, and even in retirement continue to stay busy serving our community. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby honor and congratulate Oscar McElroy on his years of leadership and exceptional service in the business community. In witness whereof, we have herein to set our hands and cause the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 13th day of September 2016.
I move for its approval.
Second.
We have motion and second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
I'd like to invite Oscar and Blessy to please come to the podium.
Good morning.
Good.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. On behalf of the Asian community that we serve for 20 years, we really appreciate this recognition, and thank you very much for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson, I believe you wanted to close today's meeting in memory of
Jim Stewart, who worked here for many years with the county.
So please record that in our
And
minutes.
I'd like to add a name, please. The Reverend Wendell Cass, who is a retired Precinct 1 employee and was a leader in the Fort Worth community for many, many years. He passed away on yesterday.
Okay, so if y'all make note of that, please. Thank you. Court members, you have before you the consent agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Mayes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we're having 3 public hearings this morning. The first 2 deal with the budget process. The third one is a community development public hearing. If we could, we'll start with public hearing A, which is a public hearing to consider the Tarrant County government's fiscal year 2017 budget. And let me just say that we've been through the budget process for quite a while now. Our budget, and we'll talk about it a little bit later when we get to the administrator section, but we have a general fund budget of $516,004,963, a road and bridge fund, which is $33,450,508, and a debt service fund of $38,917,976 for a total budget of those three funds for FY17 of $588,173,447.
At this time, I'll open the public hearing regarding the Tarrant County Government Fiscal Year 2017 budget. If there's anyone here wishing to speak to this matter, please come forward at this time. There appearing to be none, then I'll close that public hearing.
Your Honor, we will take action on this as we come to the administrator's section. If we could now move to the public hearing as it relates to the compensation expenses and allowances for certain elected county and precinct officials or officers for fiscal year 2017. Just to note that it requires that a publication be filed, and we have done that according to Chapter 152 of the Texas Local Government Code.
I will open the public hearing at this time to discuss this matter. Is there anyone here wishing to appear? There being none, then I will close this public hearing.
Then finally, Your Honor, members of the court, we're requesting that we have you conduct a public hearing to consider the draft Tarrant County Program Year 2015 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report from Community Development.
I will open the public hearing at this time. Is there anyone here to discuss this matter? There being none, then I'll close the public hearing.
Members of the court, if we can now move to the county administrator's section. We're seeking approval on item 1 for the Commissioners Court to approve the compensation expenses and allowances for certain county and precinct officers as required by Chapter 152 of the Texas Local Government Code.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, on item number 2, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve the Tarrant County fiscal year budget 2017 at the highest level cost center and account group categories as was described in the public hearing.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, if we can move to item number 3. We're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve the Tarrant County government's tax rate for tax year 2016 as follows. Maintenance and operation, 0.229538 per $100 valuation. Interest and sinking, which is a debt service, of 0.024462 per $100 valuation, for a total tax rate for tax year 2016 of 0.254 per $100 valuation. This represents a 1 cent or a 3.8% decrease from the current tax rate.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
What we'll need to do on this particular one, we'll need to enter into the order as a requirement of state law. And if I might simply read into the record. Amongst the largest counties in the state of Texas, Tarrant County government has the second lowest tax rate. The county's rate is being reduced by 1 cent to 25.4 cents per $100 in appraised value. However, if the tax rate raises $1 more than last year, the Commissioners Court is required by statute to make a motion for a tax increase even when the tax rate is reduced. The owner of a $100,000 home will actually pay $10 less in taxes because of the tax rate decrease. Since there was a reduction in the tax rate, this is the following motion. I need a motion from one of the court members that moves that property taxes be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 25.4 cents, which is effectively a 2.2% increase in the tax rate.
Move for approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, if we could now move to item 4. We are requesting that the Commissioners Court approve the Tarrant County Hospital District's fiscal year 2017 budget as previously presented by the hospital district.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, if we could now move to item number 5, we're requesting that the Tarrant County Hospital District's tax rate, that the court approve the Tarrant County Hospital District's tax rate for tax year 2017. I would like to note that as with the county's tax rate, I'd like to read this into the minutes and also ask that it reflect in the minutes. The Tarrant County Hospital District currently has a property tax rate of 22.7897 cents. The district's tax rate is remaining the same at 22.7897 cents per $100 in appraised value. However, if that rate raises $1 more than last year, we are required by state statute to make a motion for a tax increase even when the tax rate remains the same. The owner of a $100,000 home will actually pay the same amount in taxes by keeping the tax rate the same. Since this is a tax rate even though this is a tax rate that is the same, I am seeking a motion from the court as follows. That the Commissioners Court moves that property taxes be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 22.7897 cents, which is effectively a 6% increase in the tax rate.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, if we could now move to item number 6. We're requesting that the Commissioners Court receive and file the Tarrant County Emergency Services District Number 1 fiscal year budget for fiscal year 2017 budget.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And finally, members of the court, on item number 7, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve the Tarrant County Emergency Services District Number 1's tax rate for tax year 2016 as follows. Maintenance and operation, 0.08. Interest and sinking, 0.00, for a total tax rate per $100 valuation of 0.08.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Tina.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
We're asking the court to receive and file the personal agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Rob?
Yes.
Rob?
He's turned red as a beet.
Oh, my.
Always be prepared. Weren't you a scout?
Okay. I think we have 3 items for today for your consideration.
I think it's actually 4.
Is it 4? Yes, sir, you are correct.
Don't worry about that.
Thank you.
We'll help you through it.
Okay. All right. The first item is for bid number 2016-142. This is for the Tarrant County Corrections Center elevator modernization for facilities management. We're recommending the award to ThyssenKrupp Elevator in the amount of $2,342,238. If approved, we're also requesting acceptance of the payment bond and the performance bond.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our second item is for bid number 2016-192. This is the annual contract for the medical examiner supplies. For the medical examiner's office, we're recommending the award to the primary and secondaries as listed on your communique, and if approved, we're also asking for contract approval.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our third item, which is not our final item, is for bid number, which is bid number 2016-072, the annual contract for landscape supply and services for facilities management. We're requesting permission to rescind the award and rebid with revised specifications.
Move for approval.
Second. We have a motion is second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Beecham, would you like to handle this last item? Well, I know, but I have to feel like I got to give you a little bit of an opportunity here. Thank you. Or even a blind hog finds a...
Two good things happened Saturday night. Miss Arkansas won the Miss America pageant.
I even noticed that one.
And these are what winning tickets look like to the Arkansas TCU football.
Where are y'all ranked right now?
24th.
Where's LSU ranked?
Don't look where they ranked. You're gonna stand up and.
How long had you worked for Tarrant County?
A year.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't get to recognize you for your 5 years. I mean,
Let me explain that. There's three cardinal rules in the game of life that you never violate. And we had five TCU fans before Saturday. Don't make a bet with the boss. Don't bet with the boss. Don't even thinking about betting with the boss.
so you were a TCU fan?
Yes, sir.
Well, I guess you can stick around for a while longer.
The bet was I was to place a TCU poster on my wall over the top of my computer, which I'd have looked at for every day, all day for 5 days. There being five current or ex-TCU fans, each of them gets to display an Arkansas helmet in a prominent place in their office for a day. We had a drawing for the biggest loser, and the biggest loser, Gilbert, got to carry the Hogs Head to court today. I wasn't sure for a long time if everybody kept doing this. I didn't know if I was at an arthritis convention or a football. But it was a good atmosphere. We were treated well, and go Hogs.
Would you like to do item number 4 while you're up here? I'm glad to see y'all were really prepared today. I mean, not only is Rob not prepared, now you're not prepared.
I wore my tie that my bullet hole tie because I figured I'd get some shots today. So item 4, item in regards to RFP 2016-168, RFP for Enterprise Case Management System for Public Health Department. We are recommending rejection of all proposals and suggesting reissuance with revised specifications. The proposals actually came in $300,000 above budget.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Go sit down.
Thank you, Jack. Rob, always be ready when your boss is from Arkansas. Come on forward.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The Sheriff's Office is requesting permission to begin negotiations with police firearms vendors to trade in used weapons that we have in our arsenal.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Johnson, I believe you have an interlocal agreement.
I do, Your Honor. Item 9J, 1A and B. Has that been approved by the DA's office?
Yes.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Appointments? Being none, then you have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Do we have a bond?
Yes.
Is that on the,
It's with the motion.
it's with a what? There is a bond, so I will ask for a approval of the bond for Frank Phillips, our election administrator.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Manius?
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 2 items to bring before the court in the briefing. I'd like to very quickly talk about item A. As you know, we are engaged with the development of and we've actually issued an RFP dealing with the long-range planning and analysis, the health plan for JPS network. I just want to bring you up to date as to where we are currently and how we're going to move forward in the future. Court might remember that we have engaged the firm of Health Management Associates, HMA, and we've had our first kickoff meeting. This meeting was an internal meeting which included staff from HMA, the hospital district staff, and also the county administrator staff. That occurred this past week in September 7th. It was actually a 3-hour meeting, formal meeting, but it lasted all day because we had the HMA began to interview some of the internal stakeholders that were available that day. We've included the public health department. That was. I think they took a tour of public health and they met with our public health director. They have also met with representatives from JPS, and they continue to meet with those. During the meeting, we talked a little bit about the interviews that they're going to be conducting, and we will get you a list of those whenever it's completed. I will tell you that they want to talk to each and every member of the Commissioners Court, and that they're also going to talk to each and every member of the JPS board. And so they're also going to look at community leaders, other healthcare providers within the community, private nonprofits that provide support services for healthcare, and just a large number of other entities and individuals that all play a part in the delivery of healthcare in Tarrant County. One of the things that we've included in your court materials today, and this is a very, very, very brief report. This is something that HMA is going to be providing to us as they brief us every 2 weeks. We anticipate that they will be coming to court to brief the Commissioners Court at least once a month. All of this material will be put on a website that we are continuing to develop, which should be up by the end of this month, so that it will include our efforts of transparency as it relates to this process. I would also like to make sure that the Commissioners Court knows that you need to begin to determine who your representatives will be on the Blue Ribbon Committee. And I would ask, not today, but in the very near future, that the Commissioners Court identify the 2 members that are going to serve as liaisons to this particular effort.
Would you provide us with that list of external stakeholders who are going to be interviewed for their opinions on this?
We will.
Deal?
It has not been completely developed yet. It's a work in process. So when you see that, if you have others that you would like for us to interview, please feel free to let us know.
That's why I want to see it. I want to make sure that it reflects the diversity of this community.
And I believe that HMA fully understands that. I will tell you that for the first meeting and working with the staff of HMA, and Mr. Early might agree with me also, that we believe that the Commissioners Court has chosen a very good firm to help us get where we want to be on this.
When do you anticipate needing our 2 appointments?
I would ask, we're in the middle of September. If I could get those appointments by the first part of October, that would be good.
And then we're collectively going to appoint the chair of
That's correct. And each of you have 2 appointees to the Blue Ribbon Committee, and then there is a third appointee that is a collective appointee by the Commissioners Court who will serve as chair of that Blue Ribbon Committee.
Okay. All right.
That was in the plan. And we've asked, and I believe that the hospital district is in the process of appointing their 2 liaisons to the Blue Ribbon Committee also.
Would you like for the court members to also submit the name of all nominees for the chair position? Or how does that work? What's the process?
Well, I think that if you have a nominee that you would like to be considered for the chair, if you will send that to my office, and I will then in turn send it directly to all the court members.
Okay.
Any questions? Thank y'all.
Your Honor, we could go now to item B, which is the Enhanced Mental Health Services Docket. Mr. Sugar, are you going to be the lead on this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, as Mr. Sugar comes forward, I'd just like to make a comment as relates to this report you're going to hear. You've heard several reports as it relates to mental health related issues in our criminal justice system. I know that we've pointed out some weaknesses that we have, some areas that we need to address, but there are also some really good things that have been happening in how we try to address those people that are placed in jail. What you're going to hear today is an excellent example of some of the good things that we're doing. Mr. Schuster.
Good morning, Judge Whitley, Commissioners. We've been told numerous times to keep it brief, so we will do our best at that. As GK pointed out, mental health issues are a known problem, and actually when I was sitting through the Tarleton State report to commissioners, I said, this is something we got to get in front of commissioners to let them know some of the things that we're doing. The misdemeanors are a continued issue with reoccurring mental health issues, or a recurring issue. These defendants get arrested multiple times with no plan upon release. And to borrow Commissioner Wynn's term, the goal of this program is patch one of the holes in the pipe so we're not mopping up as much on the floor as we used to. The creation of Docket, I first like to commend the county criminal judges and particularly Judge Carr of giving us the latitude to kind of address this issue. But like everything else in Tarrant County, it takes a partnership, and it was all the courts. It was MHMR, the district clerk, the county clerk, pretrial services, the defense bar, and the criminal district attorney's office all came together to put this docket in place. And so on March 18th, we started that docket. Who is on this docket? These are defendants that have had 2 arrests in the last 12-month period of time. They are diagnosed with a mental health condition, misdemeanors only. We're not looking at felons. We're only looking at low-level misdemeanors with no pending felonies. Now, they can have adjudicated felonies, and part of the program will factor in on their bond, under their bond conditions. By agreement, but all the county criminal court judges, they are transferred to county criminal court number 9, which is the great wise Judge Carr, and Judge Carr defers that docket to one of our magistrates, Judge Rainey Webb, who you'll hear from in a moment. There we go, wrong button. The goal of docket is quite simple. Is we want to end a cycle of continued arrest of these mental health issues not being addressed upon release. A lot of people, we know we have an issue, but they leave the jail just to get arrested again. We want to provide an action plan so they know what to do and the resources to deal with that action plan. MHMR provides case management to these individuals, and hopefully this will reduce the number of new cases filed on these defendants in the cycle. So I'm going to turn this over to Rainey.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rainey.
I was just going to tell you, before I get started here, I want to make sure I get an opportunity. The Sheriff's Department, Tarrant County Sheriff's Department has done, I worked there 20 years with them in one capacity or another with MHMR. They have always cooperated in any of the kind of programs that we've done. They've assisted with us planning releases and making sure that we took care of the individuals who had mental illness in our jails. So I wanted to take that opportunity to say that. Once they get there, Tarrant County, if they have to end up in jail, our jail does a good job. So I want to make that plug. One of the reasons we did this program is there was an issue where we said, hey, we don't know when these individuals are leaving. There's really not an opportunity to have a planned release. And so we ran the numbers, and when we ran them for the previous year, we had 4,316 individuals who had a misdemeanor offenses, and 1,399 of those had a mental health issue. So we did the numbers. They averaged 4.45 arrests, 105 was their average length to stay in jail, at $6,929 at each stay in the Tarrant County Jail.
So excuse me.
There we go. Nope.
Nope.
That's the right way. There we go. Yes, sir.
Now go back one more. I'll go forward one, I think. Okay. I want to see that's the number.
There we go.
The cost per stay, is that figured on a daily basis?
Yeah, I think it was $66 a day, or $65.
I'm looking for that number so that I can use it to beat my legislators up with on unfunded mandates.
There we go. All right.
You know, I think we might want to work with Ramey and get a cost of bookend, cost of incarceration, and costs of release. I think we're going to find that may actually be more expensive.
Okay.
Yeah, we did it as simply and made sure we were at least correct on those numbers. So
Okay.
there are additional costs. That's correct. How does this docket work? Every day, my staff, we get a list of all the misdemeanors booked into jail. We compare that against who is already on our books as having mental health issues. We coordinate a doctor's visit. We do a pre-sentence kind of investigation that we get passed on to the judge. We coordinate a staffing with the judge's staff, MHMR, district attorney, defense attorney. And then the judge can explain what she does in the court, but we give the judge and the court all the information they need to decide what they want to do with this individual. So since we've started, 639 individuals were screened for the docket, and probably about 400 of those have gotten full services. Not everyone wants to participate. They have a choice. The judge releases them on a pretrial bond with conditions that she'll explain, but the person still has a choice to do that. So we wrap services around those individuals and meet with them several times a week, do some motivational interviewing to encourage them to stay on track. Everybody leaves the jail with their medications, a doctor visit set up, and transportation from the jail to their first appointment or where they're going to be living. So we don't have this issue where they fell through the cracks as they left the jail. So we provided a total of 10,449 services in that time period. That includes doctor visits, substance abuse treatment, case management, and also outpatient competency restoration. All right, I'm going to pass this to the judge.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for having us. I feel like we're at the Olympics passing the baton here this morning. So this grew out of the Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee that Les Smith chairs monthly. We were attending and we started hearing through the Tarleton Review some different holes in the system. And as Ramey was there and I was there, we were talking about different things, and we had an opportunity that came up because of the new tech share program that was started to be integrated into the court system. Because as magistrates, we were spending a lot of our time doing indigency review. When that got automated, we were able to free up some time in the afternoon, and I mentioned to Judge Carr and to Ramey, I think we could actually coordinate a docket using the people that we already have in place without any additional cost to the county of people, personnel that are in place, and we can try it that way. And we had no idea what we were doing. We went up to Collin County and saw a model there and talked to the judges there and looked at some other programs and started with the model, but just using things that we had seen in Judge Carr's program and Judge Cummings' program, and then put them into place here. And with the help of Ramey coming in with his staff and coordinating with that, also we have in the magistrate court, we have a lead coordinator and a secondary coordinator, Jessica Garcia, who is here today. And Jessica, like everyone who came into the program, she committed to take on more on her job description, which is coordinating this docket. And so again, it was personnel already in place. We didn't add any additional personnel or any cost. We used the resources that we already had and coordinated from there. So one of the biggest things that we saw was we were bringing those folks who had mental health issues into one docket and assessing them quickly. So sometimes there would be gaps in the time they would get attorneys appointed and actually be seen and come to court. Well, this way they were seen within a week. And so we had a lot of folks that were identified as incompetent quicker than they might have been on a regular docket. And of those, there were 12 in the first year who were placed on the outpatient competency restoration program, which Ramey runs, and through one of his staff, Tiffany Devine. And so rather than send those folks to the state hospital, we were able to keep them here, which freed up beds for other sicker folks who either had felonies or who had coming from JPS with civil commitments. And so we were able to keep them here and place them here locally at a big cost savings and a time savings and a bed savings for people to do that. And of those, there were 5 of those who restored to competency, and 2 of those cases were dismissed as successful without reoffending again, and 1 was discharged after being found competent. And so that has been one of the things that we've really seen make a difference is with competency on the misdemeanor level. We have so many folks within the system that have serious issues that to send them to the state hospital for something like a criminal trespass didn't seem as efficient to do it locally, and we were able to do that. So that's been one of the, and it's been available to the courts, but by coordinating through this court, we were able to make a big dent in that. And I know that numbers are important to all of you, especially you, Judge Whitley, but I think one of the biggest things has been our personal stories that have come out of this and examples. And this is one of the folks in our court, Mr. Arwan, who before he came, he had been incarcerated in the Tarrant County Jail 42 times on new cases, actually file cases. That's not just arrests. These were actual file cases. And he came through after we first started the program in July of 2015. He said he didn't want to do it. This wasn't his deal. He was happy on the street. He was happy to keep drinking. He loved his life as an alcoholic, so he didn't want to change. And thank you. And he chose to plead on that particular case. And then about a year later, which is kind of his pattern, about once a year, another public intoxication came up, and he decided at that point, you know what, maybe I will make a change. And he had a case manager assigned to him, and he started the program and committed to sobriety. And so he went through coordination through the MHMR program, through a 30-day program of sobriety. And now he is currently living in a home, in a group home. And it's the first time in 30 years he has not been living on the street. Mm-hmm. And he stayed at the crisis residential unit for 30 days of sobriety and then moved to this group home. And he said this week he turned 65. His caseworker started helping him getting his Social Security checks. He's gotten his first check in over 20 years, and he was going to buy a bicycle so he could get around. And so, Wade he breaks down every time he comes to court because of the opportunity he's had through this program. We also had another personal story. Cheryl was a defendant who had been on deferred adjudication, and she got in the program in into the system. Her first arrest was 1996, and just a series of thefts. And in 2003, she was placed on a felony probation for her theft cases. And when she was just about to expire on her theft cases, she picked up a new misdemeanor case. And she was referred to our program, and she was hopeless. She was about $700 in arrears on her probation fees. She just said she could not do anything, was not going to do anything. She didn't know what to do. And she got in the program, was assigned to a case manager who started working with her and finally convinced her to go to counseling. And she and I kind of battled, like, you've got to go to counseling. You've got to battle all of the, kind of address the things that you are facing. And so she started going to counseling, and the counselor really helped her deal with some of the trauma that she had experienced in her life with self-esteem issues. And she was given a gift by her aunt of some jewelry making pieces, and so she started making these rubber bracelets like the kids make, and she started selling them. She lives in a trailer park with her mom and her dad. She takes care of her parents, and she started selling them around the trailer park, and she started selling them for $4, $5 a piece, and ended up paying about $300 on her probation fees. And as she was working and selling this jewelry, we came into contact with some other young ladies in Fort Worth who opened a jewelry business, and now they employ Cheryl full-time. And so she started making jewelry for them, and this is their one of their social media pages where they are highlighting Cheryl and what a great employee she's been. And so she was able to pay off over $400 in her probation fees in about 4 months with working with them. And again, her life has just been completely changed. And when she came to court the last time, she made jewelry we all have our bracelets. She made bracelets for all of us to just encourage everyone in the program to keep going. So this, on an average, the folks in our program have been in the system for about 12 years. And of the people who have been in our program for the past year, over 45% have not had a new case filed. So they've been able to stay out of the system, to stay on their medications, to stay stable, and to stay arrest-free since they've been around. And the new cases has just been over 1.5 of those who have. And so, as Greg mentioned earlier, this was a leak that we had in the system, and I think Commissioner Wayne, you had said, we have this big pipe that's flowing, and while we have not been able to stop the entire flow, this has been a little bit of a plug in the leak to start mopping up this process. So, thank you very much for this opportunity today, and we'll take questions if you'll have any questions this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any questions?
At the risk of prolonging this discussion, Judge, I've got just a very brief thing, and it's aspirational for this community. I applaud the work that the Enhanced Mental Health Docket is doing to deal with those who have mental health issues and have been incarcerated. I'd like for us as a community, though, to consider some alternatives to incarcerating those persons in the first place. Maybe they wouldn't have these probation fees that they can't pay if we deal with them on the front end of incarceration rather than washing them through the county jail. I'd like to just point out 4 gaps that I perceive are in the system right now. One is that I'd like to see every police agency in Tarrant County institute crisis intervention training for their officers. Now, I know this is going to be a long-term process, but it's got to be done so that the officers, at least those who are on the street, have the training to know what to do when they encounter someone who is exhibiting mental health issues. The second thing is a crisis management center where these persons, especially misdemeanants, can be carried to be stabilized, case managed without having to be booked into the jail. The third is additional treatment beds in our community, which is one of the things that the JPS bond issue that is currently being vetted proposes that we do for this community. And the fourth thing is to look at, rather than charging people with misdemeanor offenses, that we look at civil citations instead. And that would go hand in hand with the Crisis Management Center and give us a way to divert these mentally ill persons from incarceration. That's all I got.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anything else?
That's all we have at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, there being no closed session, please remember the 2 folks that were mentioned for closing the court in memory of. We are adjourned. Thanks.